What are the different types of communication you'll find in the workplace, you ask? While people are great at many things, being a mind reader is not one of them. Each and every one of us have implicit assumptions, like what we think timely or quality means. Good communication is the way we learn what each other's implicit assumptions are. Today, we'll take a closer look at each type of communication you'll typically find in the workplace. I'm Noel, and this is Jotform. Let's take a closer look at communication. At the most fundamental level, we can divide workplace communication into three basic categories: written, verbal, and nonverbal. Let's dig a little deeper into each type. Whether it's an instant message, an email, or a detailed report that takes weeks to put together, a lot of the language we share at work takes place on a page or a screen. Written language is an indispensable part of workplace collaboration. Although writing is a key part of their job, it isn't just for the marketing department to master. Everyone needs to have the ability to write clearly, concisely, and without too many distracting errors in grammar, punctuation, or spelling. However, a big reason why writing is such a crucial part of communication is that writing entails more than just the content of your message. There's also tone. We're all too familiar with getting an email and wondering if the person who wrote it was angry or just in a rush. Tone is conveyed primarily through language choice and formatting. You can even yell on the page with excessive capitalization and lots of exclamation points. Tone can reveal the writer's intent without mentioning it explicitly. It's the difference between your boss emailing you, "Where's that report already?" and "Let's make this report top priority." Same info, very different emotional experience. It's careless to not think about how your tone comes across, whether that's in your writing or the tone of your voice and body language when speaking. Align your written communication with your tone to support your message and not get in the way of what you're really trying to do. A post for Psychology Today claims that email is only 7% as effective as talking. While that might be a bit of a stretch, the point stands that human beings evolved to communicate in person using speech. Verbal or oral communication involves the spoken word. When you're presenting in a meeting, hopping on a Zoom call, or calling a client on your cell phone, you're engaging in a verbal exchange. Face-to-face communication tends to be verbal for obvious reasons. And just like with written communication, the way in which you speak shares just as much as what you're saying. People tend to be driven way more by emotions than by logic. Advertisers have picked up on this for some time now. The tone of our voice sends messages about how we're feeling. Your tone of voice definitely carries emotional signals. If you want to be an effective communicator, try to modulate the tone of your voice to match your messaging goals. The next time you speak up in a meeting, enter into a tense negotiation with a would-be client, or even blow off some steam at the water cooler, remember to control your tone. An important takeaway is this: emotions are contagious. So think about what you hope to infect people with when you speak. When it comes to nonverbal communication, psychologists have found that 55% of what's conveyed in face-to-face communication comes from body language. 38% comes from tone, and only 7% of the shared info is embedded in the actual spoken words. That's a lot of nonverbal communication happening. However, the formula is conditional and shouldn't be applied to every situation. You don't need exact percentages to understand that nonverbal communication matters. Take this story, for instance. An employee attends an annual conference. 1,500 employees travel to the conference from all over the world. The CEO steps onto the stage and doesn't even say hello. With no sense of greeting, he pulls up a slide and says, "This is ROI. That's return on invested capital." Wait, why am I telling you that? If you don't know what that means, you don't belong in this room. Yikes. Of course, the audience starts to retract, crossing their arms and slumping in their seats. This is an example of how tone of voice and the CEO's whole body language had a terrible impact on the company. He used the wrong language, had the wrong tone, and conveyed the wrong message: contempt for his workplace. Remember, it's not so much what you say, but how you say it. The three types of workplace communication we've discussed don't cover everything. There's also visual communication in the workplace. Take, for instance, all of the graphs and charts and infographics that share data. Visual communication is usually combined with written reporting to share complex messages. Combining communication methods is common. Communicators often rely on multiple channels to simultaneously convey messages in an ongoing and cyclical manner. Many business goals are long-term, meaning that communication builds on itself, email after email, meeting after meeting. Strive to avoid early miscommunication so you don't have problems weeks or months down the line. No matter your method of communication, an email, phone call, or in-person chat, what you say and how you say it packs a real punch. Let's do a quick review. There are three main types of communication in the workplace. Written, which includes emails, reports, or instant messages. With this type of communication, watch out for how your tone comes across when written. There's also verbal communication, which is our default way of communicating as humans. Emotions are contagious, and with verbal communication, your tone and emotion are easily picked up on. Last is nonverbal communication, which has everything to do with body language. Tone and physical communication are a big part of nonverbal communication. Keep clear communication, whether using one method or combining them, to remove any challenges at work. Clear and concise communication is in your future. To learn how to avoid any communication pitfalls, keep watching this video series. I'm Noel, and this is Jotform.